Alright, in this video we're going to talk about Unit 2, Objective 6, which is inverse trig derivatives. There are technically 6 inverse trig derivatives, but you will only be responsible for 3 of them for the AP exam. And those 3 are going to be arc sine, arc cosine, and arc tangent. Just like the trig rules, I'm sorry, not the trig rules, the E and the natural log rules, your inverse trig rules are going to take the chain rule into account for you, so we don't really have to think about the chain rule when we're doing these problems. As you're writing down the rules that are up here on the screen, one thing that I do want to point out, and AP points this out on the test as well, anytime that you see arc sine of x, that's the same thing as the inverse sine of x. So those two things here mean the exact same thing. More often than not, AP is going to be using the arc sine instead of the inverse sine, but every so often they'll use inverse sine. So whenever you see that, it's not sine to the negative first power, it's inverse sine. So if you remember from trig, inverse sine is what gives us an angle. So if I know the sine of some angle is 1/2, then the arc sine of 1/2 will tell me the measure of that angle. So we have our 3 rules here. Arc sine is u prime over the square root of 1 minus u squared. Arc cosine shouldn't be shocking based on what you know about trig rules. It's just the negative version of that, so negative u prime over the square root of 1 minus u squared. And tangent is going to be u prime over 1 plus u squared. So we'll look at an example, and then we'll call it quits on the video. So this should be a pretty short one. Let's say f of x is equal to arc sine of 3x squared plus 7x. And we need to find f prime of x. So thinking about this for our rule, our u would be 3x squared plus 7x. Our u prime then would be 6x plus 7. So if we take those values, plug them into our rule said u prime, so 6x plus 7, over the square root of 1 minus u squared. So we're just going to write the 3x squared plus 7x in parentheses and square it. And then we're going to call it quits on that. We're not going to simplify anything. It's going to be just that. Plug it in and be finished with it. So that will do it for this video, and we'll see you in the next one.